Hello, magpies. And oh, look at me, still pretending anybody still watches my channel after I, through my own fault, fell off the algorithm due to inactivity. Well, whatever, I'm just going to keep talking, and if this reaches you, then if you hear me, well, that's just super. So, I haven't been making any videos in a hot minute. Truth is, I've been falling to pieces, magpies. I know, right? The undead person is coming apart. Who would have guessed, right? See, the thing that you may not realize about being dead is that it really takes a considerable force of effort to keep yourself together. Especially when the existence of your unlife is the stipulation of an ongoing contract. You see, for those unfamiliar with my lore, I guess you could say, you could call me a deadbeat wizard. At least I was. I would certainly accept that analysis. And as such, I wasted my life. I never achieved anything, and so when I died, when death came for me, I struck a deal with her. I agreed to devote my second chance to trying to make the world a better place. And in this way, I proffer up my efforts to pay rent for my continued existence day by day. So everything was going swimmingly. At first. Sure, it's true that as a wizard, my every instinct is to face problems by simply blowing up the surrounding countryside with fire. But at the same time, I relished the opportunity for growth, the change of pace, the chance to step outside of my comfort circle, and I loved the sense of progress that stood in direct antithesis to how I had lived my life. I was making headway, and I had big plans in the works. Until I fell down. You see, it happened around about the time a rival wizarding cabal named the Wizards of the Coast made a deal with the evil suit golems of Hasbro to throw all of my plans at making D&D third-party content into question. So I did what any self-respecting wizard would have done and set about the grisly business of nuking them from orbit. As you probably well understand, a few paltry fireballs are nothing to a capitalist cabal, but unlike in the case of other boycotts which I have so recently condemned, in this case, we, the fans, actually had the power. We commanded the playing field, so to speak. And through many skills focused upon the same objective and a diversity of tactics, the suit golems were defeated after a mere month-long battle. But somewhere along the way, somewhere amidst the ravages of war, I lost my faith, magpies. It turns out that one cannot simply stare into the void without knowing if there is hope on the other side, and then, after the fact, simply reignite that spark that one has lost at will, as if nothing happened to begin with. And I guess I wasn't alone in my post-war disenchantment. Interest in D&D content has dropped off significantly lately as everybody is heading for other game systems, and I guess others, including myself, we felt that the suit golems had not yet earned our forgiveness. All they had earned was their defeat, and having given that, we let them off without fully participating in arranging the terms of surrender. I struggled to believe, having lost hope, that I could truly inspire hope in anyone else, when I couldn't bring it out of myself, and if I could not hold up my end of the bargain by producing D&D content, then what was the point? The well had been poisoned, and it seemed as if the decades of joy this hobby had brought my way were now but a distant memory. It may be melodramatic, but I did feel as if through this fall down, I was at the top of a slope, and tumbling down to the bottom, an old serpent entered my life once again, crawling out of crevices to the underworld. Wrapping around me, its heavy coils of inactivity kept my limbs inert, and its biting venom paralyzed me as it had throughout my life. Watching the years pass without purpose or achievement. From this Ouroboros embrace, I began to expect that the Reaper would return to claim what was her own, to take back the second life that I had failed to earn. As if I were the center of her world, or even worth her attention. Rather, I simply, in the mundaneness of evil, began to rot and fall apart. I speak to you now, magpies, in a sorry state, barely able to concentrate and having not slept a good night's sleep in months, let alone able to imagine bringing hope out of myself into the larger world when I can scarce imagine the world beyond the confines of my own brain. Yet an upstart thought persisted, preventing me from slipping under. Perhaps best represented by something I said in my debut, that in trying to teach, I must become the eternal student. For who on this earth is better able to represent the quest for knowledge than one who has not yet fully arrived at it? I want more than anything else, magpies. I want to make people's lives better, and if that is arrogant for me to say, then I will settle at least for distracting them a moment. And I want to give the world hope, because I struggle to find hope for the world within myself. Trying to be the change I want to see in the world, I suppose you could say. And at this point, it's not just mere desire. I am committed. I must. That is the bed I have made for myself. I am beyond the point of no return, and though I may be dead, I am a person still, and the hunger for hope burns in my chest. No less than the fingers of death constrict around my neck. Therefore, magpies, in the spirit of self-discovery, I open up this new story arc. An arc of finding myself and finding the things that I have within myself, the resources I have to give. Wherein I aim to tell the qualitative tale of seeking hope in my own world, and whatever resonance this quest causes, whatever waves are precipitated by these stories to reach some foreign shores, then they shall be manifest, each according to their own. And I hope found by you. A quote comes to mind at the outset of this new endeavor. It is one of my favorite literary quotes by Michel de Montaigne. I find it salient for whenever I am starting a new objective, a new quest, to look over it and read it, to remind myself of what's really important and what are the stakes. This quote I shall share with you now. Comes from Michel de Montaigne's essay on books. He writes, "I make no doubt that I often happen to speak of things that are much better and more truly handled by those who are masters of the trade. You have here purely an essay of my natural parts, and not at all of those acquired, and whoever shall catch me tripping in ignorance will not in any sort get the better of me, for I should be very unwilling to become responsible to another for my writings, when I am not to myself, nor satisfied with them. Whoever goes in quest of knowledge, let him fish for it where it is to be found. There is nothing I profess more. These are fancies of my own, by which I do not pretend to discover things, but to lay myself open. They may peradventure one day be known to me or have formerly been, according as fortune has been able to bring me in place to where they have been explained. But I have utterly forgotten it. And if I am a man of some reading, I am a man of no retention. So that I can promise no certainty, except to make known to what point the knowledge I now have has risen. Therefore, let none lay stress upon the matter I write, but rather upon my method in writing it. My design is to pass over easily and not laboriously the remainder of my life. There is nothing I will cudgel my brains about. No, not even knowledge of what value soever. I seek in the reading of books only to please myself by an honest diversion, or, if I study, 'tis for no other science than what treats of the knowledge of myself, and instructs me how to die, and how to live well." Thank you for sticking with me, magpies. I see you out there. Yes, you in particular. And I have so many ideas for new project to grace this new story arc that I cannot wait to share it with you. Until then, let our falling down, our swooping deep, but build velocity by which we may soar anew.